Come here. Come here. Hi. Hi, honey. Hello. Hey, guys. I'm Tanner, and welcome to Tanner's Books and Beyond. Oh, come here. Come here. Hi. This is my dog, Flower. Say, look. Look. Flower, look. Hi. Hi. Yeah. Yeah, she's very cute, and she's kind of dumb, and she's not a dragon. And, that's fine. Dogs are great. But what if she was a dragon? That would be cool. In fact, today I declare that all things should have more dragons. The household should have more dragons, the classroom should have more dragons, and the Napoleonic Wars should definitely have more dragons. And fortunately for us, that last one already exists thanks to His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik, Book 1 in the Temeraire series. The year is 1804 and the Napoleonic Wars are in full swing. Captain William Lawrence of the HMS Reliant and his crew have just captured a French vessel where they find an unhatched dragon egg. Knowing how valuable the dragon could be for the English war effort, Lawrence orders his crew to all attempt to pair with the dragon once it hatches. However, the dragon then ends up pairing with Lawrence himself, and at a loss to what to do, he names it Temeraire and resigns himself to having to join the Air Force. This is not good news for Lawrence, because he's been banking on a Navy career being able to secure himself a position in England's upper crust alongside his parents. However, in the Temeraire universe, because of the extent of their duties, all dragon riders and airmen basically have to give up any ownership of titles or lands, as well as any prospects of future marriage, because once they're with their dragon, they pretty much have no other priorities. Also, members of the Air Force do not have a very good reputation amongst England's public. I mean, they are seen as important because they keep the French from invading the country, but they're also seen as very uncivilized and uncouth and basically the complete opposite of Lawrence's hyper-formal and hyper-professional naval training. Fortunately, Lawrence eventually does warm up to the idea of joining the Air Force, mainly because of his friendship with Temeraire. In fact, their growing friendship and respect for one another and their bond, it very much reminded me of the chemistry between Hiccup and Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon, and those first few chapters are quite similar actually to the first act of that movie. And so the only big difference I found being that Temeraire can actually talk, so him and Lawrence can actually converse, and Lawrence can explain to him why he was initially apprehensive of joining the Air Force, but also why he is more open to it now, and which is because of his friendship with Temeraire. The rest of the book takes Lawrence and Temeraire first to Scotland for their training, and then eventually the Battle of Trafalgar itself, with the big climactic fight between the British and French forces, all the while exploring the growing friendship between Lawrence and Temeraire, his friendship with his fellow aviators, and how the English dragon community operates as a whole. Overall, this book is a blast to read. It is very well written. Novik is great at describing stuffs, and it hits all the right notes so that when a scene plays out, you can visualize everything immediately in your head. Also, the character work is phenomenal. I really appreciate the fact that Temeraire and Lawrence, they both kind of fill that fish out of water trope, but from very different perspectives, since, well, one's a human and one's a dragon. So we get Temeraire learning about human customs at the same time that Lawrence is able to learn not only about dragon customs, but the unique customs inside the Air Force. And the Air Force kind of becomes a character on its own because of the development of the aviators within it, as well as just how they treat their dragons and what kind of person you become when you're bonded with a dragon as opposed to simply staying with solely human companions. Now, unfortunately, there's one thing that I can't really talk about in this review, and that's the historical impact of dragons existing all over the world. And I know that kind of sucks because this is an alternate history book and I should know about the history, but unfortunately, I am not the history major in my friend's squad, so I cannot really enlighten that, and even if I got a crash course from my friend Lindsay, I would probably not be able to remember half the stuff that she would be able to explain to me. However, there is one thing that I'm pretty sure is a major historical change that I love, love, love about the universe that this book creates. And this is based off of the fact that when a dragon is hatched, it chooses who it wants to be its rider. Now, this may not seem like a huge deal at first, however, it is made explicitly clear several times throughout the novel that if a dragon can find a person that it wants to bond with from birth, then that dragon is basically nullified, because if they don't learn how to operate with a human as a child, then they are never able to learn. You can't teach them that later in life. At best, they're reduced to breeding stock, and at worst, they go rogue. And even as breeding stock, that's an issue, because you could have this very rare, powerful breed of dragon, but if they can't be used in warfare, then they're wasted for the next, 20 years possibly, because dragon eggs can take forever to hatch. For example, the Longwing is one of the mainstay dragon breeds of the English Air Force, and they only choose women to be their flyers. which means Novik is all of a sudden able to put in a whole bunch of female characters right on the front lines, and they're in the Air Force, and they're self-realizing, and they're very well developed, and hardly anyone even bats an eye on it, and it's great. It just opens up so many other possibilities that could exist in this universe, even if it is 1800s England. Like, are you black? Well, we don't care, because that dragon likes you, so get in the Air Force. Are you gay? That's adorable. Hop on, because you're in the Air Force too. Are you Catholic? We don't give a shit. Get on that dragon. So in conclusion, the book is great, the universe is great, and dragons are great. Read His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik. You will not be disappointed. And I will see you guys later.